And I'm sitting down here with Rose Copes, super excited to talk about life, coaching, and the journey along the way. And so starting out, we are, you're just finishing up your first couple semesters of PT school.
Yeah.
What has that been like?
It's been a lot so far. So I just finished my second semester. I started in the summer, did 10 weeks there, and then I just finished our fall semester. That was 15 weeks, so it's kept me really busy. It's been really exciting, though. I'm so excited to use what I've learned and keep growing.
What inspired you to go to PT school?
Really started in high school. Really when I started working with you at the gym.
Okay.
You're my inspiration. But no, I was dancing, training a lot in high school, and I started to get a lot of hip pain.
Yeah.
Started to go to PT. Really liked that route. I could really see myself working in it. I just really wanted to know more, like, why was I having this pain?
Yeah.
What was triggering it? From my dancing, was there something I was doing wrong, something I could do better to fix it? And I just felt like there's a huge knowledge gap in dancers and PT. Like, we would just show up, hit the splits, get going right away. And that's like all I did growing up my whole life.
Why did you know GCU was a good fit?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's a hard program to get into. For dance, they've won numerous national titles.
Yeah.
You were there when they won game day, I believe your freshman year.
My first year, yeah, we won game day.
And speaking of that, like, how many freshmen were there your freshman year when you tried out at GCU?
Yeah, so they take a lot of freshmen. They really build up the team with freshmen, and then they kind of dwindle it down over the years. So there was
who's committed.
Yeah,
and it's a good fit for the program.
So there was about 17 of us. I think about 7 or 8 of us made the nationals team to compete at nationals, and then only 2 of us, me and my really good friend, were in both of the nationals dances. So
you being humble, that's a really big deal. So the fact that you not only made, you said jazz and game day?
Jazz and game day, yeah.
So not only did you make a D1 very big school program, but then as a 17 freshman, you competed. And one of only 2, you and one other, that competed in both dances. So that goes to my point, hard worker, humble, and you obviously did an amazing job. So going back to the question for that, why was GCU a good fit?
First off, GCU athletics and the dance team, like, I couldn't have been happier with my experience and my time there. Really strong academics that are applying in my life at PT school right now. I'm like, wow, I learned that, and I have a really good grasp on that right now in school, whereas a lot of my classmates didn't get that foundation. So I'm really proud of GCU for that in my time there. For dance, I just felt like the pieces of the puzzle just came right together, and I'm like super lucky in that way. That doesn't always work out that way.
No, I remember that journey for you. You know, I was there during that whole time, and it just blended all together.
It really
did. Felt really good. You went there, you did a clinic. Like, it was just kind of
like my sophomore year, started going to clinics. My mom was like, you should check this out. They're a pretty good school. They compete. And I always wanted to keep competing at the time for dance. So I was like, okay, sure. So we flew down, went to a clinic. I did clinics my sophomore through senior year there. Just got my name out, met the coach, met the girls, and
Is that advice that you would give other high school kids wanting to compete? Was like a sophomore year like a very good...
That's a good time. You know, freshman year, you're still establishing yourself. You know, you might be starting your high school dance team. Just really enjoy that time, and then sophomore year, you can start planning what you want to do, working ahead. Go to clinics. That would be my biggest advice, is to just meet the coach, get your name out there, meet the girls, and try and see if that dance team is a good fit for you. You know, it might be a really big name team out there, but it might not be your fit. So try out the clinics, try out their styles. If you're a hip-hop dancer, find a hip-hop team. If you like pom, find a team that's more oriented to pom. So just like try and blend with the team and see what works. Don't force it, but try a few clinics and just see how it goes. I just really liked GCU. I liked the idea of going out of state. I mean, Arizona's so nice, so I wanted to try out there.
Yes, I always say, like, I think it is very important to go out of state, go try something new. You have your family, you have coaches, you have people that love you, you can always come back, you know, and unless you have a specific reason to stay home, it's really just intelligent to I think it's, no matter what, I left for some military, but I think it's really smart to go out, forces you to grow and develop as a person.
Yeah.
And so freshman year, what was some of the big takeaways that, like, going in as, advice that you would give your younger self, like going in as a freshman?
Yeah.
What was...
Just do as much as you can to prepare yourself. I mean, it's silly, but like try the laundry before you move out. I dyed all of my practice clothes blue. I was in so much trouble with my coach. So like just do small things to help yourself. Do the laundry.
Yeah.
Start preparing yourself. Academics are a lot more challenging in college.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't know enough, it's just that you have to apply yourself in a different way.
It's a big... Something that I tell a lot of athletes, and we've had this conversation before, is if you're an A student in high school and say you study 10 hours a week, if you do the same 10 hours a week in college, you will probably automatically be B.
Yeah.
Just guaranteed. Yeah. And so now you're talking about leveling up not only as an athlete, the higher expectations of college, but now you're talking, if you don't put in more effort, you will probably be a B, and maybe less than that, depending upon the class. But it's a much higher expectation.
Yeah, it's just a big change. It was hard, but you get used to it.
You adapt and grow.
Yeah, same for dance. Like, it was a lot more hands-on. We were practicing at least like 20 hours a week, and then having game days on top of that. So you just have to get used to the change, make some friends. It feels a lot easier to go through that if you have some good teammates.
And GCU is a really big game day. I mean, it's a production.
Yeah, it's a whole ordeal.
We went to we went to Midnight Madness.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That one time, and I was like, holy moly!
Yeah, it was like 5 hours.
Yeah.
We got. I mean, I think the thing started at like 7. I mean, I got there at noon. It's like that's how their game days work. Is we get there like 4 hours early. You parade around campus. You do a pregame outside of the arena, dance for the crowd, and then before the basketball game, you'll dance on the court for like 20 or so minutes, just doing little sidelines, and then you'll dance throughout the entire game. You do head springs on the sidelines, you do aerials on the sidelines, so it's full on. I would be exhausted the next day. I mean, you get used to it, but like it's so fun though. Like I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'd do it all again.
Going from collegiate to high school, what was something that your high school program did a really good job of, and then you're very thankful that they helped put you in a place to dance at the next level?
Yeah, I'm really thankful. I was on the East dance team. They competed, so I got a lot of experience competing.
Yeah.
So that was really nice to transition into college on a competing team. I knew what the stage was like. It's at the same place, ESPN at Disney World. So if your dance team competes, that really helps like set you up for college.
Yeah.
And we practiced a lot in high school. I don't know how all high school teams are, but we were every day after school for 2 hours every day. So that sort of work ethic and time commitment really prepared me for college.
Yes. And your dance coach, she was a collegiate level, which some of that probably plays a role. Like, she danced at a collegiate level and wanted to see the program do well. She had been there for 10 plus years. So having all those were definitely things that helped you put you in a place that helped you for success. What was a big difference dancing from high school to college?
I feel like in college there's a lot more going on with your practices. You're floating between multiple national routines. You're trying to keep in your basketball game day routine in your head that you're just doing at the basketball game, all the sidelines. So it really helps to just like kind of like break things apart into smaller pieces. For high school, it was kind of like, okay, you just have your pom routine to worry about this week.
Yeah.
Whereas college, it's like, okay, we have to do X, Y, and Z all today, keep it fresh in your head. So try and like break things into pieces when you're practicing, and also like not being like, oh, I have to be perfect at every single thing we're going to do today. So that's hard for me. It used to be like, I'm all out 100% or I'm failing. So it helped to like switch that mindset to be like, I improved in this today. Maybe this part of practice wasn't as strong, but I really did my best at this part of practice.
You always have to give 100%, and some days you just have to be that you showed up and you did your absolute best.
Right.
And some days that's enough. And it's, anybody that dances at a higher level or does any type of athletics at a high level, you always want to...
You want to be the best. You want to do your absolute best, but it can be exhausting.
Yeah.
And it can be really just like hard to continue that day after day. So I think it's important to remember to like I can really do well at certain things, and it doesn't have to be every single thing all day long. Because I used to be like, oh, I can't go to the gym today. I'm not feeling 100%, so let's just not do it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think you have to have more the mindset of like, it might not be great, but it's 1% better than I've done before, and that's all you need to do that day.
You guys have weights in college, and a lot of high school girls don't even get exposed.
No, yeah, we didn't in high school. Actually, we had a little bit in high school. Our PE coach really stepped in, which is really cool. I'd never seen that before. We had just our PE coach was like, hey, do you guys want to lift weights once a week? And we're like, sure. At that point, I'd never touched a weight.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what was happening. But in college, yeah, we trained every practice. At the end, we'd do weights at the end of every practice. So that was really nice. That helped keep us all strong, keep us healthy. I dealt with a hip injury all throughout high school. I mean, that's how I got into PT. I was fascinated by that. Not fascinated, but I wanted to know why and like how I can fix it. So throughout college, I stayed pretty healthy. We had an athletic trainer, so that was really nice. We always had someone to go to if we were injured. But yeah, so.
No, that's just something big that I push is not a lot of high school programs for dancers specifically or cheer take the weight room serious or have the opportunity to take it serious. And that's always something, I know through our connection, that was something that I was like, you want to be comfortable in the weight room. You want to know the difference between a plate and a dumbbell and a kettlebell and have some baseline of how to use your core and those kind of things. Yeah. And just be comfortable in the weight room. Yeah.
I know when we first started training, I'd barely done any sort of weightlifting, but it was crazy to see like, after just a few months of like lifting, I was like, wow, I can jump higher. Like, I didn't know that it works like this. I could jump higher. I could turn better because I just felt stronger. So
if you want to athlete is a good athlete.
Right. If you want to continue in college, like start working on that in high school. And if you get onto a college program, they'll definitely have weights now for you. So
which is awesome.
It's awesome. It didn't used to be like that.
No.
So
no, and having like a dedicated coach depending upon the program. I know GCU was pretty. You guys had a dedicated coach that. It was a big deal to have that many amenities, honestly. And that's something I always suggest. Like, if you want to train at the higher level, get experience in the weight room, work with someone that's good at what they do, because it does make a difference. And that's one more thing that you don't have to stress about.
Right?
Learn how to do laundry. Go to the grocery store alone. Be comfortable in the weight room. What is your undergrad in?
It's biology, pre-med emphasis. Okay. So. In high school, I wanted to do PT, got to college, wasn't really sure. Had a lot of people in my program doing the pre-med route, so I switched my major from pre-PT to pre-med just because you did all of the recs. So if I had the pre-med route, I could still do PT.
You were safe.
I was safe no matter what I wanted to do.
Super smart.
So I did that. Worked in the hospital a bit. Really, I feel like I was forcing myself to enjoy the hospital, but I ultimately was like, I just couldn't see myself here. I think I was a little worried with med school. I'm a little undecisive, so you have to commit to what you want to specialize in. So that made me nervous. But I liked with PT, you can change it up all the time.
Navigate.
Different populations, different injuries, different conditions. So
what was your mindset and what was something that helped you through all that?
I would say as a high schooler, just take every opportunity that you can. Really try and grow yourself, expand yourself, experience everything that you can. If you have mentors around you, like Solomon was a huge mentor for me and really helped me grow and kind of find myself. Just take every opportunity that you can, whether that's your sport or your academics. If you find a field that you think you're interested in high school, like talk to your teacher about it, or talk to someone that's in that career, and just try and like make that connection to really push yourself in that field. And just also take it one day at a time. Nothing's ever as serious as it really feels in that moment. So
sometimes you have to try things to know what you want to do. There's no kind of actually a perfect example is you being in the hospital. And like you were like sampling and trying and you're like, I don't know if this is where I want to be long term or this kind of work area, this kind of pressure, like if this is really the area that I want to be. And sometimes you have to try that. So we connected based on just acrobatics and leveling up to help you go to the college. How big and how important is it in your opinion to be like up to like acrobatics? Obviously, from when you first started dancing, to like now,
I wouldn't survive.
it's a lot different, right?
It's different. Yeah. It's a huge part of dance now. So
Yeah.
if you can get involved in that as early as you can,
You're kind of the era that it was like,
it was starting.
yes, it was important.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like end all, like,
Right.
it's becoming more and more
Yeah.
like you're from the generation that aerials were a thing.
Some
and,
people did it.
some front
Yeah.
aerials, and there was those things. It was like the baseline, maybe some back walkers, some front walkers. It was very baseline.
Yeah.
And now, well, Texas Tech this last year at College Nationals, like half their team did standing back tucks.
Yeah.
So like you as a freshman, yeah, you as a freshman in high school, like Rose is doing backflips in 8 years. Like it's just a completely different.
It's different now.
It's a lot different.
Yeah.
You got in at a time that acrobatics was important. What did you say was important?
Yeah, because I didn't have an aerial. That's why I started with you, because I had to get that confidently to do it in college. So, yeah.
So that was, and you needed that for GCU, right?
Yeah, it was a requirement. It just had one-sided aerial.
Yeah.
You can do that. So.
Yeah. I even remember, so like 10 years ago, working with high school athletes, that a lot of teams, it was like optional to have an aerial on a high school team.
Yeah.
And, same thing with college probably. Now there is no options.
No, that's definitely mandatory now.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of college, you're talking both sides, you're talking
Yeah.
front aerials, you're talking back handsprings, and kind of going back to what you were talking about is finding a program that's a good fit for you.
Right, yeah.
I know, like, for instance, Iowa versus Texas Tech versus GCU versus Minnesota, they're all going to have a little bit different requirement, and you can kind of get a taste for that.
Right.
UNL, UNO, those are in the local area, but I know like Texas Tech is super acrobatic. GCU, it's definitely a standard. You need to be able to do those things, but you don't maybe need to do a standing back tuck yet.
Right.
I want to be surprised if
it's coming up in the future.
It is coming up because in high school, when you competed, a front aerial wasn't legal.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's legal now. And what just passed this year is back handsprings now.
Yeah.
So just in the, you're finished up high school, college, so just in the last decade, you go from front aerials and back handstrings being illegal, and you just do your right side and your left side in high school, and that is actually something that's kind of crazy. Honestly, I always thought is, if you think about it, high school in this area in the Midwest, it was illegal to do front aerials and back handsprings. You could only do your aerial side because it was illegal to go over your head with no hands. And then in college, so that's why that was a very simple reason right there why it was so mandatory for you to take the steps to train at a higher level.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't have that exposure training, you're kind of out of luck going to college if you weren't, because you weren't getting it out of high school because you didn't need it.
Right.
But at what point did you know, like, okay, I want to train at the next level, or what age do you think you started to take it serious?
Probably in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, I was always very committed to it. I did studio competition dance since I was in like 3rd grade.
Yeah.
So I was always doing the most, but it
Did
wasn't.
you do competition all the way through your senior year?
Yeah, I did. I think I started in 1st grade doing competition dance, and I went all the way through senior year.
Yeah.
And there's some of like my best memories too. So like I really enjoyed it, and I think it helped me for college dance team. If college dance team is your goal, it really helped with my technique and my foundation of dance.
What if you were to say what is like one of the most important dance that's good for technique?
Back to ballet.
Ballet.
Yeah, it's everything.
It is.
It's everything.
Yeah. It's even in gymnastics. My background in gymnastics, watching even male gymnastics, you talk to a lot of high-level male, they took ballet or did something ballet related. It was a part of gymnastics training. And then female women's gymnastics, very much the terms, everything, so much ballet. So dance, that is a huge part of.
Yeah, gives you the technique, the balance, coordination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much does ballet and PT cross? Are you finding
PT?
PT?
It's so interesting.
Are you finding it crossing paths?
Yeah, definitely. Just from posture, what was pretty in ballet does not mean good for you, healthy for your joints, healthy for your body. So I've learned a lot. like I'm going to PT myself now for like a little bit of like hip and back pain, and my PT now is like, you have this like sort of ta-da like posture about you because you dance. You were taught to like stick your chest out, like show that you're confident and you're on stage. But he's like, that's really put a lot of stress on your hips and on your upper back and your lower back standing in that position. So it's interesting to see a lot of the things I was trained to do in dance may not be what your body needs, but yes, it's perfect for dance. It's beautiful for dance, but
because it's aesthetic, ballet is
right.
aesthetic,
and you just need to find, I think there needs to be a better combination of them at play in dance. So that's what I want to help with warming up better for your joints. So I've learned a lot that I'm like, wow, I shouldn't have done that. Like, why were we doing that? Like, why were we stretching before we're dancing? Like, you need to warm up and stretch after. So just little things like that can add years onto your body and how you're feeling. So
well, it's amazing. So in our facility, our gym, there's a dynamic warm up, and there's always some stretching before, we do. But it shouldn't be intense stretching. It should be stretching to lengthen things, and you should do a dynamic warm-up before to get some blood flow and raise the body temperature before you start to lengthen things.
Right.
And you don't need to stretch for intensity, stretching for intensity in the sense of like length, trying to actually improve your flexibility. Those are things that should be done after the training. You know, you don't go stretch super intensely and try to... I've explained this before that... splits is kind of like a plank. Yeah. And so trying to do like, splits on an elevated thing, like you're gaining that strength and length that you're gaining. It's not just stretching. You're actually trying to strengthing that area.
It should be more of a skill that you practice at the end.
A skill that you practice. I like that.
Yeah, you're doing the splits. It's an accomplishment. If you're, trying to get them up on a box, that's an accomplishment. It's not really... It's not a stepping stone to going and doing a leap in that very moment. Yeah. You need flexibility to do a leap, but like...
The aesthetic. Aesthetic. Yeah. It's a skill. I like that. It's a skill that you're working on, you should develop. And as you know, in PT or strength training, progressive overload. Right. You don't go sit in your splits for 5 minutes. You don't go sit in your splits for a minute and a half. If 15 seconds is what you have, that's what you do, and you build up and slowly progressively overload.
You don't pick up the heavy dumbbell if you've never touched it before. So you gotta build it up.
But people don't look at it that way. So one of the seniors got injured, and you had to step in as a freshman.
So it was we were going to nationals in a week. One of the seniors broke her toe during practice, and my coach pulls me aside. She's like, do you want to learn her part? I think you could do it. I was at like the back row at the time. I was just a freshman. I was hanging out.
Happy,
I was having a good time. I'm in it. I'm in the back. You can't see me. But she's like, I think you can do it. And she was front row, had a solo in the middle of it. And I was like, oh, all right. Okay. But, I stepped in. I did it. It was crazy, but it was really cool. I learned a lot. Really had to dig deep and push through it. I was super nervous to do it.
The mental side of being an athlete is huge, and if you don't have that makes it...
Yeah, and I think I was really fortunate to have a lot of coaches, including you and my coach at GCU. They were really focused on building yourself mentally. Like, we did a whole week of, like, character building camp at GCU where, like, we were sitting and journaling, like, for hours with each other, doing, like, group building activities together, which was really cool. It was really unique. I had never been through anything like that before. And we really focused on journaling at the end of practices at least once a week. So that was really cool. And
looking back at that, from a college level, that's impressive.
And it gives me a lot of skills that I use today still. Like, I still do a little bit of that technique of journaling that we would do. And we had to read a book together during the summer, like a personal growth book as a team. So that was really cool. Like, I feel like they were really focused on being great athletes, but also just being great people. Because you need that in your life, too. It's going to apply into everything that you're doing, to have the work ethic and also have the humanity and to be a good person.
That's amazing that you had a college coach that cared that much about her program, cared that much about her athletes.
She really instilled that into us, that, it's bigger than just dance. Yeah, we love dance. That's what has brought us together. That's what we are and who we are. But there's so much more than dance, and let's just, like, enjoy our time together and be good people.
You can have the most talented dancer in the room. You can have, the strongest, the best at everything, technique. But if you're mentally not in a mind, if you mentally cannot compete or train at a high level, it's really a sad and unfortunate thing because that matters so much. What is something that between what you've learned and what has been good for you, would you put your coaching philosophy or something that you're trying to bring to the table for other athletes?
Yeah. So what I've learned being the student and having coaches is that it makes such a big difference when they check in on you emotionally as a person.
Yeah.
They're like, how are you doing today? What's going on? They're not just like, all right, let's warm up, let's get to it.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference to feel like emotionally connected to your teacher or your coach. So I try and do that with my dancers now, and I always make sure they're doing good, school's going okay, just check in with them.
Yeah.
And I always try and remind them that no practice or no rep is a wasted rep.
Yeah.
You're always learning. If you're never failing, you're just trying new things, you're experimenting, you're trying new ways to be better at what you're working towards your goals, and that you're never wasting your time, you're never wasting your effort on that rep. Like you learned that didn't work, but let's try something else. Like never have that mindset that was bad, like I'm upset with myself. Like you have to have the mindset that doesn't work, but how can we make it work?
That's okay.
So,
part of learning is
okay.
failure. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Part of learning is failure. What's something that you think from your high school, your college, and now being in PT school, what do you think is a super important, what would be a takeaway, or what's something that you would do differently or start earlier, or what is something that you would change?
I would add more strength training and mobility training. If you're weak in certain areas, you have weak ankles, weak quads, landing mechanics is going to be a lot more difficult. And as dancers or gymnasts, you're jumping, you're landing. And if you're stronger in that area and you're training landing mechanics, you're just going to be more successful in that area.
Landing is so important in gymnastics and cheer, and it's the same with dance. And the thing about dance is a lot of times you're landing on one leg.
Yeah.
like a lot of times.
Right. And if you train it, you have less ankle sprains, less time that you're out of dance, less injury. Yeah. And it's so easy. It's so simple. Like just doing a few quick TheraBand exercises could make a world of difference for you in your training.
Training the landing mechanics will get it to the point where it's physically and mentally, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Like your body automatically turns on and does the job because you trained it in the weight room and not in the studio. Because a lot of times in the studio, like those aren't things that you walk into dance class and they're like, okay, we're working on landing mechanics and how to land. Like that's
I'd never heard of it.
Right, probably not. So, but in like the strength and conditioning world or
it's
PT,
huge,
that is huge. And a lot of times with that, the strength training, like you said, a good strength and conditioning coach or PT can see how you land. Maybe you favor a hip. Maybe you favor the other hip. Maybe you have a lot of ankle stiffness in one ankle because of previous injuries and that favoritism and what the strength is going on with it. That matters. It matters so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a really good takeaway.
Yeah.
I wish more high school and college, I wish they would take that more serious at a younger age. And even like, my daughter, like she does strength training. She's comfortable in the weight room, and those are things that are so beneficial and so huge.
I mean, not only for injury prevention, but just like leveling up what you're doing. Like I remember a specific moment, like when we first did like a single leg RDL, the way that it forced me to, with the mind and muscle control of planting your foot into the floor, I felt it in my turns. I was like, I have greater control throughout my calf and in my toes in a way I never felt before.
Yeah.
Just from training it.
Yeah.
It's like, not only is it strengthening, it's a mind-muscle connection that you have to build.
Movement patterns.
Right, and if you're just going up doing a turn over and over in a way that's not helping you, you're not building that mind-muscle connection.
Yeah. Okay, so we're on this topic, and this was a topic I know I always like talking about with everybody, but core. So in strength training, that is a big thing.
Right.
You're working on your core in a prone position, in a supine position, moving your limbs, like a dead bug exercise or breath work. That is a very basic thing that you're moving your upper body and your lower body. How important do you think that is?
Oh, yeah, super important. I do it every time before I work out because it makes me feel good. I feel like I feel under control. I feel ready to do whatever I have to do, whether that's upper body. And
Yeah.
I knew like if I were to like dance right now, I would want that feeling. I would
Yes.
want to feel controlled. I want to feel that my hips are tucked under, that I'm ready to go. And that sort of posture, it's what your body is meant to do anyways. You're going to feel better in that posture. You're going to have less injuries. You're going to be stronger in your turns. You're going to land better.
Do you remember, like, when starting to use the core and learn how to use the core in the weight room, do you feel like it was very complementary to your dance?
Definitely. I mean, I felt like I could turn better. I felt more control in that. Almost like everything. It translates almost to anything you could think of.
Like you were just talking about an RDL. Like, you're like, I've been practicing dance and balance my whole life.
Yeah.
And now I learned to do an RDL and a single leg RDL and learning how to hinge and use balance on my foot in a way I've never felt. But now I actually feel it in my turns and I turn better than I did prior.
Exactly.
So, no,
Yeah.
that's a huge takeaway. That is a huge takeaway. Is there anything else that, besides strength training to level up, what else? Is there anything else that, if you had a daughter that was loved the path of dance and you saw her going in that way, what are her tools, or younger athletes?
Yeah. I would do a lot of mobility too. I mean, you need strength, but you also need that with flexibility, especially as a dancer. And I think that's where a lot of dancers or gymnasts might not want to do strength. They're like, oh, that's bulky. That's not, ballerinas are long. They're like
that's a very
skinny.
competitive thing, or not competitive, repetitive thing that I hear. And like, well, I don't want to be bulky, or I don't want to be, it makes me, a lot of dancers I worked with, they're like, it makes me feel stiff, or it makes me feel, and so you have to do mobility.
You have to pair it, with mobility as well. And you don't want too much of one thing. You don't want to be too strong, but you can't do your splits.
Too much flexibility with not enough strength is a lack of stability.
Yeah.
Too much strength with a lack of mobility is stiffness, and most of the time recurs into an injury. There's a balance.
Yeah.
There's a balance.
You're too flexible. You have no stabilization when you're turning. You're actually more prone to injuries because your legs are like noodles. Your hip joints are like noodles. You need to build the mobility, but also the stability and strength to hold your leg where it's supposed to be. Yeah.
No, that's a huge. And another thing in a mobility is, and this is something I see. I don't know if you really experienced, but a lot of people will be really flexible in their range of motion, will be beautiful on one side, but not another. Yeah. Not only from a dance point of view does that cause issues, but just an adult.
Yeah, we focus on it a lot in PT school. We pull students up to the front of the class and be like, oh, look at them. Like, they got a hip drop. That doesn't look good. So, I mean, it's huge. You have to train both sides. You can be right-handed. You're not going to be perfect on your left, but you definitely need to train equal strength and flexibility on both sides to control your posture, and it'll help with dance, obviously, being able to do both sides.
To try to balance things out. You don't want to be overdeveloped or underdeveloped on one side of your back or shoulder, or obviously we're human beings, we're not perfect, but you want to keep things as
Right, yeah. If you're overdeveloped on one side and stronger on that side, you're going to reach with that side. Your right arm's going to be lower than your left, which could lead to neck pain, back pain, just poor posture that you'll have to correct and adjust in the future, and it's so much harder once you're set in that posture.
Which in dance, you guys turn.
Only on the right side, really.
Probably 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, on the right
we
side.
Can even
You're gonna
be
do
8
the
out
right.
of 10 to be nice.
Yeah.
So 80% of the time.
Yeah.
So the amount of like strength training that you're essentially doing by doing 80% of your turns on one side or leaping on one side or whatever. So you're just developing injuries waiting to happen.
Right, and it's weird. I've noticed, like, I have a little bit of knee pain just on my left side. And then I was like, okay, like, what's going on with my quads? And I couldn't squeeze this quad. I couldn't do an isometric contraction of my left quad. And I was like, that's weird. Right side, normal, super strong. Left, not as strong. And I link that back to, like, only drilling my right side while dancing.
Yeah,
so.
And you didn't do that out of, like, you did that out of, like, you were trying to be a better athlete, you were trying to level up, and what's actually crazy is if you didn't do any strength training, like, how far actual behind you would be, because when strength training, at least with me, like, doing individual leg, I'm always doing individual arm, individual leg, and those kind of things, and so you can kind of notice someone's weakness, but if you weren't to do that, or even have that opportunity in college, like, That's great. That's literally
Yeah.
an injury waiting to happen. So
Definitely.
no, that's cool. Well, I cannot wait for you to graduate PT school and start making a positive impact on the younger generation and just educating. That's always my goal. I know that's one reason we always connected was just educating and trying to do a better job for the next generation.